All right, guys. So we are live on a Sunday night helping people quit cannabis, nicotine, binge drinking, and other substances. Now, a few things before we jump into the live tonight. Real quick, if you are an entrepreneur, business owner, or high level professional struggling in silence with a substance use disorder, we have a science backed protocol that has a 98% client success rate at helping people break the dependency in 18 days or less. We can do this efficiently, effectively, and privately from the comfort of your own home. I put a link in the video description in the pinned comment where you can learn more about that. Now, for tonight's live, I have it on the side of the screen where you can text me live here on YouTube your questions and I'll answer them. Or you can text me the word live and I will actually call you and speak to you live here on YouTube over the phone, answering your questions. Okay. So we got a good lineup tonight. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll keep an eye on the comments section as well, and I will just start answering questions as they come in. So if you're listening to the replay of this, you might want to fast forward a little bit once we get the ball rolling with things, okay? And again, for more information about what I do, what we do, link in the pinned comment and video description, all right? Now, guys, if you're here, feel free to ask me questions. What is it you're struggling with? What do you need help with? The quickest way to get your question answered is to text the number on the screen. I will reply to you here on YouTube, or you can text me the word live and I will call you live here on YouTube and have a conversation with you, okay? Awesome question. What do I think about hypnotherapy to quit smoking? I am a fan of hypnotherapy, okay? Hypnotherapy is actually something that a little bit of what I do when I work with people one-on-one. It's a small portion of it, but it's something that I'm actually diving deeper into with people. I like hypnotherapy because it does a lot of work on the subconscious mind. And I think hypnotherapy can be a very powerful tool. You have to recognize with addiction, right? We're all suggestible to some extent, right? I was suggestible to consume cannabis, to fall for the advertising and the marketing of alcohol, right? We're all suggestible. And hypnotherapy kind of plays into that. Now, I think like anything, it depends on the person you're working with. It depends on their skill level working around substance use. But I'm a fan and I think it's worth a shot. Again, something I'm actively exploring more of and going through trainings on just to improve my own skills with people. So you're going to see more stuff on that on the channel. Awesome question via text that came in there. Okay, let's see what else we got. You love my videos. Thank you for watching them. I appreciate the support, guys. It's support. It's the people that work with us. It's you guys coming to these conversations that make it all happen. 2 weeks, no weed, started a new job, kind of hard to focus and even eat breakfast. Start with small meals. When I first quit, now I had CHS, but I was very much on the 1 meal a day diet when I first quit because when I couldn't eat. So like protein shakes, fruit, easily digestible starches, white rice, white potato, white bread, okay? Things that are easily digested. And, you know, I saved my other meal for later in the day, like typically around dinner time or even thereafter, just because I was so nauseous when I first quit. Protein shakes are also very helpful. You could do whey protein. Some people don't tolerate that well. You could look into something like, like a vegan-based protein from pea protein sources. Just depends on the individual. But yeah, that's definitely a thing. Now, when you say kind of hard to focus without quitting, that's not abnormal, right? Dopamine levels are low. Motivation is kind of fluctuating. Endocannabinoid system dysregulation is high. You're probably not sleeping great. Your nutrition's off. Makes sense that it's kind of hard to focus in the 2 weeks. What you don't want to happen, though, is to think that you can't focus because of a lack of cannabis in your life, or you don't want to say like, oh, I can't focus. You go see a physician, they put you on amphetamine-based medications for focus because you're going through withdrawal, and then, we could have just waited it out another 2 weeks and you would have been fine. So just recognize it's not because of a deficit of cannabis, it's because your body's actively clearing it out right now, and your brain and your body are going through some physiological and neurological changes as you go through this process, okay? So don't stress too much. Congrats at the new job, though. Awesome transition. 60 days today away from active substance use, active addiction. Congratulations, McKenna. Awesome. McKenna, what were you quitting? Was it cannabis, alcohol? What did you step away from? Congratulations on 60 days. Guys, again, please Feel free to ask me questions. The more specific you can be, the better I can be giving you feedback. You can text me on the phone and I will answer your question directly. Or if you want to call me live, we can actually have a live conversation here talking to one another. Yeah. I'll say something else too on kind of hard to focus, right? I work with a lot of I keep saying this, right? I work with physicians, attorneys, business owners, predominantly politicians, okay? Things like that. And a lot of them will say to me, I've just quit drugs and it's hard to focus. It's hard to focus. I can't focus. I'm worried. I like to remind people, now there's an exception here because you're new in your career, but for people who have been in it for a while, I'm like, listen, you're an expert in your field, and chances are you even functioning at like half is still way above what the average person knows about your field. So just something to keep in mind if you're quitting. A lot of people kind of forget that. Yeah, drop questions in the comments section. If you're from out of the country, you won't be able to text me on this number. It's not connected to WhatsApp. But yes, you can absolutely message comments in here and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Please, guys, the more questions, the better. Okay, McKenna, you were out using cannabis. You had CHS, 2 gram carts per week in the morning, cramps. They hurt so bad. Straight A's when I used to have straight F's, and weed took away my motivation. Pretty incredible transformation going from CHS failing to getting straight A's and feeling significantly better. Awesome, McKenna. What are you studying? What is it that you're pursuing in your education? I'm a fan of any type of education, whether it's a traditional path, a non-traditional path. Education can be a great source of purpose. It can be a great source of dopamine. I'm a big fan of learning. It's something I'm constantly pursuing. We kicked off this conversation tonight. I was talking to you guys about I'm actively pursuing some more education in hypnotherapy for substance use and whatnot. I think it's a really cool thing that I'm fascinated by. Huge fan of learning, though. Always learning, always learning. Okay, let's see. Yeah, very demanding software engineering job. Prescribed Concerta. Not sure if I want to take it. So I can't give you medical advice on medications, but this is what I can tell you. So we have physicians that work with us when we're detoxing people, and we have medical detoxes available, and I will see physicians on our that we collaborate with temporarily prescribe something for focus. Okay, so maybe you talk to your doctor about using that drug as a bridge versus like a lifelong commitment. Okay, maybe that's an option for you, right? Because I say when it comes to focus, it's okay if you're having really bad brain fog and you need it to perform at work. Okay, a drug may be necessary. You could also start with supplements too, though, right? Hell, I'm not encouraging you to do this, but you could read about nicotine patches, really low milligram nicotine gum as a bridge for focus, okay? Right? There are nootropic benefits. Also, things like alpha GPC is a potential option, right? KSM 66 has been shown to help with focus, ashwagandha. So maybe you want to start with supplements, then bridge if you need a medication. If you do use a medication, maybe you're talking to your doctor about it being a temporary bridge. I know when my medical team that I collaborate with does that with people, we just use it as a bridge to get past the withdrawal stage. And of course, I want you to focus on lifestyle modifications as well that could help with focus, right? If you're like, I'm not focused, but you're on your phone scrolling every 15, 20 minutes, well, there you go. Get the phone out of the room, pull some other low-hanging fruit to see if that's impacting you, maybe before you jump to an extreme with medication, okay? So, whatever Amen says, thank you. 60 days nicotine free, quitting smoking videos gave me the push I needed. Awesome. That's fantastic. Yeah, guys, even though I just talked about nicotine as a nootropic, right? I obviously every day I help people quit smoking, walk away from nicotine permanently, right? So that's kind of a nuanced topic. Good evening. You helped me quit weed, nicotine, and porn. I do miss smoking weed and want to return, but maybe once or twice a month. And you are perfectly capable of returning to moderation. That is, most people are perfectly capable of that. Now, once you get to moderation, you may decide it's not all it's cracked up to be, right? But that is a fair goal to have, and I wouldn't discourage you from exploring that. Now, guys, I got some text coming in here, so I want to try and pull up and answer these text questions. All right. Let's see here. I typically wake up and smoke. It helps me focus and get moving. Is a little bit of weed okay? I typically smoke 1 to 3 joints per day. So right, I don't want to judge, but like most people wouldn't consider 1 to 3 joints a day a little bit of weed. Okay, but maybe it is a little bit of weed, right? I talk to people who chain smoke weed like they chain smoke cigarettes. So by comparison, that's a little bit of weed. It depends on your definition of a little bit. That's the first thing. I can't answer that for you if it's okay or not. You're texting me about quitting. So obviously there's something that's not sitting right with it about you. And I can tell you, your biggest barrier, my friend, who's texting me to quitting is going to be the fact that you value it for focus. Now you have to start to question, is weed actually helping you focus? Or do you maybe have a slight dependence upon cannabis? So, right, let's take the example of smoking cigarettes. Someone smokes cigarettes and they're like, oh, I can't focus until I have a cigarette. I can't focus until I have a cigarette. Well, no, what happens is you smoke a cigarette, it starts to exit your body and detox nicotine. You start to get cravings and withdrawal symptoms, and now you can't focus again until you temporarily satisfy those cravings and withdrawal symptoms. So you smoke, the cravings are gone, the withdrawals are gone, now you can focus. But now you're attributing your focus to the drug when really the drug is the thing that's actually taking away from your focus. You could have a similar situation going on to the person who texted me just now with cannabis. I don't know enough about you and your unique situation though. This is just generalized stuff that I see with people. Maybe it really does help you. But is it the THC? Is it other phytocannabinoids? Maybe it's the CBD, CBG, CBN, something else, one of the terpenes that's really giving you those positive effects. And if you're having negatives from the THC, maybe you try going to a lower concentration THC. Maybe that offsets the negatives and you can proceed with continuing to use cannabis if you really feel it's helping you, okay? So great question. Nuanced question, but good question. That's the stuff I like talking about that and giving you guys ideas on it, okay? Someone says, I slipped up today. I'm a 1 gram daily user, 14 years, 1 day into my journey, then 0.1 grams vaped. I feel bad as hell. Don't feel bad. You'll get there. You know what I mean? You've had this for a long time. Most people don't get it right the first time. I get it right pretty quick with people when I work with people one-on-one, usually in 2 to 18 days. My average person I work with, we break the dependency within 48 hours. But I've been doing this for, 7+ years with people now, right? So you can learn about working with me one-on-one. There's a link in the pinned comment in the video description. But don't feel bad about it. Look, you tried. Day one went a little not as planned, not as good as planned. Try again. That's the beautiful thing. Every minute, every second is an opportunity to start fresh. Okay, that's the reality. And here's something I'll tell you guys. I'll give you a hack. So I learned a lot of through quitting drugs, and that's what's really made me tremendously valuable in my businesses. I learned that failure happens. I'm not afraid of failure. I failed 1,000 times trying to quit cannabis and nicotine and porn and all that stuff. And I learned wait a minute, I can persist despite failure. I can learn something despite failure. And as long as I learn something, that failure has now become a valuable experience. I learned that in quitting weed and quitting drinking and quitting porn. And I applied that mentality to growing a monster social media platform. I applied that mentality to growing one of the most sought after private one-on-one addiction consulting, recovery coaching companies. I have an e-commerce business. I have my brick and mortar chiropractic business. I apply that mentality to being a parent. It's insane what you can accomplish when you no longer become fearful of failure. And I'll tell you another thing too, going forward, my friend, don't let your slip up on day one predicate or lead to doubt when it comes to future attempts. Don't base future success on past failures. As long as you learn something, as long as you take something away from it, right, and you move forward, it wasn't a waste, okay? So I hope that helps you out, okay? 60, yep. Yeah, we're talking, we addressed that. Okay, so great question. What is less dangerous, medical cannabis or SSRIs and benzos? I know where you're going with this question. I think it's kind of a leading question. You want me to compare pharmaceuticals to cannabis, okay? And the answer is going to be, it depends on the individual. Now, I can't answer this. What type of cannabis is the person consuming? Is it well regulated? Is it high quality medical cannabis? Because a lot of medical dispensaries are popping for pesticides and all types of other problems right now. Okay. Even the medical ones are. So there's that. Now, when you're talking about a dependence, you can die from benzo withdrawal. Benzos are a hell of a drug, but I don't demonize any drug. I don't even demonize cannabis. Could someone responsibly take a benzo? And could that same person abuse cannabis and ruin their life with cannabis? Quite possibly, yes. It's happened. Could someone... Now, do I think there's a higher incidence of SSRIs and benzos ruining people's lives? Absolutely. Okay, but like, this is a very... Like, are we talking that people are taking it, like, responsibly? Are we talking that, we're positive these are regulated products? Like, there's so many nuances here. So I really, it's going to depend on the person, right? Like, I smoked a lot of weed and I drank a lot of alcohol. Cannabis was way more destructive to my life than alcohol was. But that's not to say that alcohol isn't more dangerous, quote unquote, than cannabis. I mean, in many regards, it kind of is. So very, very nuanced question. This is what I would say to people, though. If someone's saying to me, look, benzos are ruining my life and I started to use medical cannabis and it's helping me and it's dramatically improved my quality of life, I'd say all the power to you. Keep doing it. Now, I will say Dr. Yosef of the Taper Clinic on YouTube has lots of great content on benzos and SSRIs and all that stuff. So I'd highly recommend checking him out. A lot of people don't know this about us, but we also work with MDs and collaborate with MDs where we're able to provide medical detoxes for benzos, SSRIs, all that stuff. And I have some of the best when it comes to medical detoxing at home, no rehabs, no group meetings. If you're struggling with that, link in the pinned comment or video description, okay? So great question, but hard to answer, but I hope I gave you an unbiased answer there, okay? So let's see here. Let's see. I'm getting a philosophy degree for law school. I'm excited. Probably would have dropped out by now if you haven't quit. Congratulations, McKenna. What type of law are you going into? Do you have an idea of what it is you want to practice? I found your channel a few days ago, 48 hours now. Look at that. We flipped it like that. 1 gram cart every 2 days and off of my YouTube channel. Like I said, my kill rate, 24 to 48 hours with a person when I work with them. My YouTube channel speaks to that, right? Pretty cool. Awesome. Congratulations. Just water and sewer things. Finally, I quit. 13 years, no alcohol, 10 months, no weed, 4 months, no nicotine. You did it, Joe. Congratulations. Congratulations. I quit weed because I'm getting a job as an electrician. Good reason to stop. Career development. Now, what I would tell you is go a little bit deeper than that. Why do you want to become an electrician? What are those reasons? Why is that important to you? And that's really why you quit weed. What is the value you see in being an electrician? Is that higher income? Do you eventually want to own your own company? What does that freedom of being an electrician, owning your own company get you in life, right? Oh, you quit for freedom. Go even deeper, because what I don't want to happen, if this is what you want, is I don't want you to quit for a job. You get the job. Now said goal is accomplished. And then you go back to consuming cannabis, unless that's what you want to do, okay? So if you want long-term, think about, like, what do you value about being an electrician? Because that's really why you quit weed, not just to be an electrician. I usually encourage people, go 7 levels deep on your reasons why you stopped. People say to me, I want to quit for better health. Why? Because I have children. Why do you care? Because I want to be able to keep up with my children and set an example for them as they're older, because they watch and copy everything I do. Why do you want to do that? Because my dad didn't do that for me. Why is that important for you? It's going 7 levels deep into your reasons why, right? Okay. How do I tell myself the cravings aren't urgent? When I get a craving, my brain associates it with urgency, like I need it now. Yeah, McKenna, first of all, refocus on what it is you actually crave in life. You crave getting a philosophy degree and a law degree. Why? Same thing I just said to that electrician. That's what you actually crave. So first of all, you have to deconstruct the craving itself, right? And then you have to ask yourself, why is it that I'm craving weed? Am I bored? Am I stressed? Am I excited? And is satisfying the craving of cannabis actually going to fully deliver on that promise? Is it really going to satisfy the craving? Because once you can deconstruct that, the cravings can become completely irrelevant, right? I have people who will quit. They work with me, they quit, and then within 24 hours, something bad happens. Not because they're working with me, just because this is life, right? A war breaks out. There's freaking, they stub their toe. There's a car accident. Something happens at their job. And they'll tell me, they're like, Dr. Frank, zero urge to consume cannabis. I don't know what you did to me, but I have zero urge to consume it, right? And what we really did was we deconstructed the craving. So like, why are you craving it? And is that actually valid to start with? Okay. Now, other things, N-acetylcysteine, a supplement that can be very helpful, right? We had a one-on-one coaching client. I'm making a video about their story soon, where we actually did have, we advised them to speak to a physician and we helped them out with like GLP medication. Not something we like often do, but in this case, it seemed warranted and it's been a game changer for the person, right? Right? Again, something we brought up. They then consulted with a physician on it, and it turned out to be a great play for them. Not something I recommend everyone does, though, okay? And there was 3 months of mindset work that we did prior to that decision to get on the GLP, right? Because people will take naltrexone, GLP. You're even seeing them prescribe Suboxone now to get people off of cannabis. Crazy, if you ask me, but they're doing it. And, it fails if you don't have the right mindset, right? If you didn't construct the right mindset, it doesn't matter what supplement, what medication, what thing you do, it's not going to be nearly as effective, okay? But cravings aren't urgent. You literally just have to tell your brain that, like, they're not urgent, but they feel urgent because you've associated the craving with some benefit. So I hope that gives you some things to think about. But yeah, they're literally not urgent, right? It's just a neurochemical thing going on in the brain. And you tell the brain, hey, I'm not falling for that today. All right, guys, we got another text question here. Is cannabis good or bad for dealing with depression? It really depends on the individual. Again, if you're watching my live stream, there's a chance you're experiencing something bad regarding your cannabis consumption or something that you think is bad. So if you're experiencing negative outcomes of consuming cannabis, those negative outcomes of consuming cannabis might be depressing. And if your cannabis consumption is resulting in depressing situations in your life, and then you're smoking weed to deal with the depression that's caused by cannabis, well, it's bad for cannabis. If you've been a depressed person and you consume cannabis and you've been doing that for a while and you feel like your quality of life has dramatically improved, well, must have been good for your depression. I can't answer that. For a lot of people that work with me though, they have the belief that it's good for depression, right? And that belief becomes very, very powerful and it makes it very hard to quit. So when I work with people, that's a common thing that we have to dismantle and undo in order to help them successfully quit for the long run, right? And then often what we find is, no, the cannabis wasn't helping for depression. There was something that really needed to be addressed in their life, and they were kind of sweeping that under the rug with cannabis. And what actually resolves the depression is addressing the situation that was making them depressed in the first place, okay? I very much adopt a mindset of depression is situational. So when my wife had a miscarriage, a family member got diagnosed with cancer and had to move in with me, I lost 2 employees in my chiropractic office, and I had an IRS headache on my hands. I was depressed, right? I was depressed that day. There's no way around it. It was a shitty day, right? But I looked at it very much as I'm not depressed as a person. I am in a depressing situation. And this situation too will come to an end eventually. And by the way, if I get through this without majorly disrupting my behavior, not only won't I be depressed anymore, but I'll actually be a stronger person. So that's how I view it. But that's just the mentality I adopted. That's the mentality that I try and teach people. So again, it really depends on the individual, but hopefully I helped answer that question for you. Okay. 6 years now, no alcohol, 6 months off cannabis. I'm thinking of going back to using low THC, 1-to-1 CBD THC. It helps me wind down at night. I haven't felt a big enough difference off weed to completely cut it out. I feel like being strict over a long period of time with cannabis is just a bit too rigid. I feel rigid. I don't feel any relief. Any tips? Yeah, so here's my deal. You've quit before, you can quit again. So, like, don't take my advice. I don't know you. I haven't had a long enough conversation with you. For me to actually advise you on this, I would need way more information, okay? But this is what I'll tell you. Do I think it's a big deal if you want to try that? No, I don't. You've stopped before. You can probably stop again. Now, you may text me a month from now on a live and say, Dr. Frank, that advice ruined my life. I'm addicted to weed again. So don't take my advice, all right? I don't know enough about you. But for me to advise on that. But I would tell you, like, you're an autonomous human being. Do what you feel you need to do. I like being rigid. I enjoy being rigid. Being rigid has gotten me a lot of wonderful things in my life over the last 9 years, not 6 months, over 9 years. 6 months, I was still finding my footing, right? I still didn't know a lot. So for me, that would have been way too early to make that judgment call. I would have missed out on insane opportunities in my life had I gone back to it. Maybe that's not the case for you. I don't know. But do I believe, listen, this is just fact. 50% of people who have a serious substance use disorder across the board with multiple substances will eventually return to non-problematic consumption. Okay? So could you potentially be in that 50%? Sure. Could you be in the other 50% where it becomes problematic again? It's possible, right? That's up to you. That's your decision to make. Like, and honestly, that's not a decision I would ever make for someone. If I knew a lot more about you, I would kind of like look back on your history and look back on our conversations and try and give you some guidance. But I would never be a person to say, no, never do that. Or yes, absolutely do that. That's a great idea. You're an autonomous human being capable of making your own choices. You are in control of this at the end of the day, not me. So honestly, my opinion on that is kind of irrelevant. If you want to try it, try it. If you don't. Right? For me, that wouldn't have been a good move. It would have been too early to call. And I will say this, I find for a lot of people, they make the call too early. They call the game too early. 6 months, I think that's early. You know, you were consuming it for a long time. I don't know that you'd expect to notice a difference in 6 months. You know, let's say I work out and diet for 6 months. That's nothing compared to working out and dieting for 2 years. You know, the transformation that a body can undergo. So that's my thing. The second thing would be is you want to wind down at night. What are you trying to unwind from? And I would warn you that that's a very powerful belief. Cannabis helps me unwind. And if your mentality becomes, oh, I'm wound up, I'm just going to smoke every time I want to unwind, is it really going to remain moderate consumption? I don't know. You might be playing with fire there. When people, what I most often find, when people responsibly moderate, it's not, their use is not associated with anything strong. It's like I could take it or I could leave it. And that's that. Like, I'm not using it to unwind. I'm not using it to dramatically enhance anything. Like, weed's here, I'll smoke a little, I'll wake up tomorrow and I'll move on. I could take it or leave it. Those are the people who successfully moderate. But when you say, like, I'm super stressed and I'm going to smoke weed at night to unwind, well, is that going to be moderate consumption if you still have a strong association between weed and stress relief and unwinding? I don't know. I don't know for you. So that's my thing. And then I would say, what other methods of unwinding have you explored? And you might surprise yourself. For me, this is unwinding. Taking on the spot questions live on YouTube, offering people to call me live on the freaking spot to answer things. That to me is unwinding. Like, never in a million years would have I thought this is how I unwind, right? I wouldn't even learn that until at least 2-3 years into quitting cannabis. So I would challenge you, like, what other things could you possibly explore to unwind? I pursue education at night to unwind. Sometimes I rot my brain on social media to unwind. Sometimes I read a lot to unwind. And sometimes I do lives and I post social media content and I edit videos to unwind. Sometimes I film videos at night to unwind, right? So next thing and I don't think this applies to you based on what you're telling me, but I realized for me, I don't I'm a wound up person. I don't even like unwinding. Like I thought I did because that's what society promotes. Unwind, you have to slow down, you have to unwind, you have to take it easy. Well, I don't know. Most people that I look at who are like, "Oh, I'm unwinding." What are they doing? They're drinking, they're smoking, they're watching porn, they're rotting on Netflix, or they're spending money they don't have. That's like society's large definition of unwinding. So for me, I'm like, do I even want to be doing that? Like I don't even like I don't even like unwinding. I'm just a wound up person. And the moment I accepted about that myself and embraced that, I was able to move on, right? I was like, oh, I don't need to force myself to unwind anymore because this is the type of person I am. Maybe I should embrace that and see what happens in my life. And, it's created a pretty unbelievable life for me, right? So I hope that helps you out. Okay, let's see here. So some people, when I tried moderation, it didn't work. Yeah, so for moderation to be a success, like you really need, I think, three things. One, you have to completely dismantle your belief system surrounding substance use. There's no way you're going to moderate successfully without doing that. Two, you need to break the dependency. You need to go enough time where you no longer have a dependency. Three, you need to get to a place where it's like, I can take it or leave it. That's really where you see moderation occur. I have a lot of videos on my channel about moderation, okay? But if you don't think you can moderate, you're probably right. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. So go with that, right? And then the question becomes too, like for me, as I just said, I'm not a moderate person. So why am I going to try and force myself to go against my values of moderation? I'm not going to do that to myself. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm like going against my own grain when I try. I don't moderate. Why would I want to moderate something I don't want to be doing anymore when I could just be expanding on everything that I actually want to be doing in life, right? Two, I could moderately consume, but does that mean my thinking surrounding cannabis is going to be moderate? If I'm only smoking once a week, but it's consuming my thoughts Monday through Friday, is that really moderate? Not really. To me, that's a waste of time. So it just depends on the individual. Someone says, I'm trying to quit Zyn pouches. I can get 24 hours, super angry, lash out, depression, crying, saying it's not that hard. I wean myself to 3 milligrams, great, but I am a mom and I need to function, so I just go back to it. So, mom, you should probably look into using nicotine patches. Nicotine patches plus N-acetylcysteine. I make an incredible product that people use to come off of pouches. Kick It Crave Less Chewing Gum. kickitrevolution.com. I will text you the website. It has ashwagandha and N-acetylcysteine in it. Great product to help people quit. Only chewing gum in the world like that to exist, okay? But you do that, plus some N-acetylcysteine capsules, plus some nicotine patches. Yeah, I think you'd have a significantly easier time, okay? Significantly easier time. I'll text you the website, but that's probably what I do. And you're down to 3 milligrams. You do that plus N-acetylcysteine. You could probably start on a 14 milligram patch. And, N-acetylcysteine, 2 to 3 pieces of my gum a day, plus, maybe 600, 1200 milligrams capsules. You'd probably crush it. Okay, make this way more comfortable for you. All right. So yeah, I get it. You do need to function, absolutely. But like a case like that, typically like some supplementation, some NRT, and like a person's going to be good to go. Now, for a lot of people, it is easy. Like nicotine pouches, a lot of people can just go on and off of them like it's nothing. You can't. You got something else going on. That's okay. But like, there's a lot of options out there. I hope that helped you out. I gave you the most straightforward answer I could without going into the whole belief system and all that other stuff. Like if you just want like, what should I do next? That's probably what I'd try. Okay. All right. ARS, thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you. You guys don't have to do donations. Thank you though. Addicted to my phone more, off of weed now. Yeah, very common. Very common. Listen, a lot of times when I talk to people, like, yeah, their phone consumption might go up a little bit after quitting weed sometimes, but a lot of times I'll be on a call with someone and they're like, yeah, I'm on my phone more. And I'm like, let's pull up your average screen time for the last 3 months. And what they tend to find is like, wait a minute, It's only been like 20 minutes more. And I'm like, yeah, you just become hyper aware now of how much you're on your phone because you're not stoned all day long anymore. Right. So people are just like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I can't believe that. So, again, too, don't judge yourself, right? If you are, in fact, on your phone more, you're 2 weeks into quitting weed, get off weed. Don't stress over the phone. Work on that once you feel really stable on weed, okay? Getting away from the phone is not very hard. I have two phones. I have my personal phone, and then I have my work phone. Most of the day, I just have my work phone on me. It has no social media on it or anything, and that really is, that's just what I do, right? I two phones, right? Kevin Gates, two phones, one for, well, I won't sing it, but yeah, that was the easiest thing for me to do it. Right? I can't put the other one aside and I forget about it. Okay. But yeah, 48 hours is too little. I've been sober for months and I relapsed. So you guys, I say it on every single live. So like, okay, you didn't relapse. You chose to go back to it for a reason, right? So what after months led you back to it? That's the question. And guys, remember, if you want me to call you, don't just call me at random. Just text me the word live. Text me live. Maybe text me your question, and then I'll call you. Okay. Just because like I got to make sure we keep a protocol here. Right. So okay. Otherwise it gets a little too hectic. So, okay, let's see here. McKenna says, yeah, rehab always taught me to avoid triggers and never how to devalue it. This is why rehabs have, on average, around a 10% success rate. Most rehabs are focused on shame. They don't say this, but they are. They're focused on, this is why the drug is so bad. You're ruining your life. You're ruining your life. They never talk about the benefits of drugs. God forbid, that's taboo in a rehab. And they tell you to live in fear. Avoid people, places, things, triggers. So it just leaves a person constantly living in a state of fear. And what happens when they get out of rehab? They've learned very little to no real coping skills to manage real life in real time. And relapse or return to use is very, very high. That's why people love working with us. I work with people directly one-on-one, right? We can provide all the way up to a level of a full-blown medical detox at home for someone with the physicians that I collaborate with. So like we have a full stack offering for people when it comes to this, and it's highly effective. We have a 98% client success rate because we are helping people quit in real life, in real time with the triggers, which triggers are bullshit. The only thing that's triggering you is your belief system surrounding what you're going to get from that drug. So, yeah. And guys, yeah, phone addiction, all this stuff, it's very like real, but like it's like anything else. Like you most drugs minus the physical detox, whether it's the phone, it's porn, it's gambling, it's weed, it's alcohol, the belief dismantling is all kind of the same idea. Okay? Maybe there's some nuances, but it's kind of the same. Detoxes and how you detox are going to vary from drug to drug, substance to substance, depending on the degree of physical, psychological dependence. And then like what you do after that is kind of the same too. The phones, that's my biggest thing. Like I said, I just got two phones, easy. All right, let's see. Let's see. And if I do go to rehab, what should I do if I feel I shouldn't come back to where I stay now in my hometown? I feel comfortable here. Yeah, so Jack, I'm sorry. I don't collaborate with any, like we don't do anything with rehabs. Not say there's not some good ones out there. I don't know all of them, obviously, but I don't, I'm kind of like, I'm pretty, I'm not big on rehab. I'm all for a medical detox, but I'm not big on the rehab thing. The sad thing too is a lot of rehabs, I hate to say this, like they will, the guy owns the rehab. Hey, we got you sober. Do you want to work for my landscaping company? We're going to pay you off the books, less than minimum wage, right? You're going to go be a roofer or a landscaper or a house cleaner. Yeah, we'll pay you cash. Again, less than minimum wage. Don't report it. We got you sober. Sadly, this stuff happens all the time in rehabs. It's really, there's a lot of shady business that goes on. So yeah, I have no recommendations to it. Okay. So let's see here. Yeah, hopefully that helps. All right, we got a text. I'm looking to quit weed, but worried about not being able to eat, sleep. Also trying to change my career after being laid off. Feel like smoking is just making it worse. Smoking probably is making that worse, right? Like, like I get it. You're feeling stressed, you're feeling depressed, but you just got laid off. You should feel stressed and depressed. And those are signals, those are emotions that are going to drive you to make a change, because those emotions are what are going to drive you to not tolerate the situation of being laid off. So the last thing you want to do is smoke more and try and ignore those negative emotions, because those negative emotions are what's going to create momentum for you, okay? As long as you don't let them consume you. So that's my first thing. Now, worried about not being able to eat or sleep. I don't know. Are you basing that on past quit experiences? Or are you just assuming that's going to happen, right? Because even if you've experienced that in the past, there's not a guarantee that this time around will be as bad. There's not a guarantee that it might not be worse, right? Now, again, if people are experiencing extreme sleep issues, extreme appetite issues, again, sometimes a medical detox is warranted, right? Sometimes that happens. I'm seeing it more and more with people that we're having to do, right? Where you got someone who's not sleeping for days on end. If supplements, lifestyle modification, and everything else isn't working, that person may need a prescription medical detox. So, there's solutions. There's solutions to this. You don't have to stress. There's answers, right? Like, but are you fearful of something that you don't even know that you're going to experience yet, right? I was working with a psychologist struggling with tobacco addiction, right? 2 to 3 packs of cigarettes a day. And this individual is down to 7 cigarettes a day now with us. We're doing a tapering type thing with him. And he's like, I'm so worried that I'm not going to be able to fall back asleep at night when I wake up if I don't have my cigarette to fall back asleep. And I'm like, you're worried about something that you don't even know if it's going to happen yet. And you're letting that fear prevent you from moving forward, stopping. The fear is often nothing more than false expectations appearing real. Let's not let a set of false expectations prevent us from making positive progress, right? And he's like, how did I not see that? I'm a psychologist. How am I not seeing this? I was like, hey, you know what else you're not seeing? Once you stop smoking, chances are your body, after we detox nicotine, is going to stop waking you up at night to get nicotine. And you're probably going to sleep a lot more sound throughout the night because you're not going to be waking up in active detox, withdrawal, and craving. It's like, oh my gosh, right? So yeah, that's what I would say. But yeah, I would definitely say I'm sure smoking's making the situation worse with your job. Maybe fear of getting another job from drug testing. But yeah, you find yourself in a tough situation. That's when I most want to be sober, when I am in a tough, challenging situation, because my body is telling me things. It's screaming at me. And my body screaming at me is what drives change, and that's what creates progress, right? Again, guys, if you're enjoying tonight's conversation and you feel I could help you out, we have a science-backed protocol, 98% client success rate, specifically designed for business owners, entrepreneurs, executives, and high-level professionals. We can do this effectively, efficiently, and privately, helping you break the dependency in 18 days or less. We can do all the way up to in-home medical detoxes with physicians that we collaborate on our team, okay? Check out the link in the pinned comment in the video description if you are struggling in silence and you need help. Okay. We have another text question coming in here. I've been a heavy spliff smoker for 30 years. I'm on day 2. Would you recommend titration dosing edibles and using a patch? I smoked a few cigarettes, but now that I split the habit, what should I focus on? I'm taking long walks, hot baths, stretching, but I'm feeling super weird right now. You should be feeling super weird because you're on day 2. So you can only do so much. You're on day 2. You're going to feel weird. You've been doing this for 30 years. It just comes with the territory, right? The expectation that you're going to feel great after that on day 2, when days 2 to 5 are usually peak detox, is just an expectation that's false. You should expect to feel weird for the next few days. And even just by setting that proper expectation, that can relieve some of the anxiety. Literally going to bed saying, I'm probably going to wake up tomorrow feeling a little fucked up. It can relieve anxiety, just having proper expectations. Okay, so that's the first thing. You could do everything in your wheelhouse and you're probably still going to feel weird after that amount of consumption 2 days in during peak detox and withdrawal. And let me be clear. Feeling weird isn't the worst thing in the world. Let's put it in perspective, right? You're feeling good enough to text me. So that's something. Seriously, that's something, right? You're not debilitated, right? You can still text. That's something. So like put it in perspective. Is your house burning down? Did you lose a limb, right? Is your life in immediate danger or threat? Probably not, right? So feeling weird, even super weird, how bad is that on the scale of life? Right? You've probably had other points in your life when you've been super sick, gone through super big challenges where you felt a little fucked up and you still got through it, right? You've probably been in situations that are even harder than this and you got through it. So have some faith in yourself, look back on past experiences, find some motivation, find some strength, find some faith in yourself and get it done. You're doing it. You're doing it. You should feel weird. It's good you feel weird. Your body's reprogramming. The addiction's dying. Awesome. You're breaking a 30-year habit. Great work. Great work. Change feels weird. Whether we're quitting drugs, changing careers, right? Changing relationships, it feels weird. This is part of it, okay? So now, could you titrate dosing edibles? Yeah, I would use a nicotine patch if you're quitting smoking at the same time. Personally, I probably wouldn't even worry about the cigarettes right now. I would just focus on weed, worry about the cigarettes later. But if you want to quit cigarettes at the same time, I would use a patch for sure right now. And titrating dosing edibles, I don't know, you're 2 days in, you already feel weird. Do you really want to go that route? You could. I mean, like, I wouldn't tell you no, but like, and if you feel you could titrate responsibly, okay. But like, shit, you're 48 hours in. Who knows? You might get to 5 days and feel a lot better. Do you really want to prolong this? Like, you're already in the thick of it. You're here. You might as well hang out and stay. That's kind of my advice. Again, I don't know you. I don't know what feeling super weird means. If you're telling me you haven't slept in 48 hours and you've been up straight, that's dangerous, okay? So I can only tell you what I know based off of this text in general assessments. But I hope that helps you out a little bit, okay, my friend? All right, now let's go back here and let's see. We got some other incoming text. How do I remove smoking as a reward? Went 30 days, so good not smoking. Then I had a rough, What's the best, how to best remove the belief that vaping THC will give me relief? Well, what is vaping THC giving you relief from? Again, you're talking to me, you're texting me on a live. Something is deeply not relieving you about consuming drugs. Like, no one truly getting relief from a drug is texting me on a YouTube live. That's the first thing. Like, you wouldn't be texting me if you were getting relief. Something about THC and vaping is deeply bothering you. Something is very not relieving, okay? It takes a lot to text me on here. Like, congrats. But only someone deeply bothered would be texting me right now on a Sunday night right here, right? And this isn't the first time me and you have spoke, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, what are you trying to get relief from? And has that been resolved through continued consumption of THC? Probably not, right? Because if it was resolved and you truly got relief, you wouldn't feel the need to constantly keep consuming THC for relief. And then I'll pull to the Alan Carr. Alan Carr, great books, easy way to quit smoking cigarettes, easy way to quit smoking weed. Highly would recommend them. We have worked with countless individuals who have read his books though and gone through his programs online and it hasn't worked for them, so they come to us. But I would tell you I could lean on that too. It's the Alan Carr thing. What if the only relief that you're getting from smoking weed, drinking alcohol, smoking a cigarette is relief from the craving that the drug caused in the first place, right? And what if the relief that you're seeking is relief from the consequences of your cannabis consumption, your substance use consumption? Have you questioned that, right? This is how we start to dismantle the relief. Great question. You are asking me the right stuff, my friend. I will tell you that. When people hit me, and this is no disrespect to the person who asked me about titrating, awesome question as well. But this is where it starts. Questions like this. This is really how we break substance use. And people will hear me say this. I'll be like, oh, that's simple. I can do that. Oh, it doesn't help me. And it's like, no, this is the thing you've been neglecting. This is why you're struggling so bad. And you're just brushing it off. So kudos. You have asked me 2 killer questions over the last 2 days, my friend, on these lives. Hopefully I helped you out a little bit, okay? So, all right. Someone in the comments on YouTube here says, is it possible to stop vaping, nicotine, consuming cannabis, and watching porn all at the same time? I would do one by one. I would just pick the one that's causing the most problems for you, start there, and then work on the other ones. For most people, cannabis is going to be the biggest problem. I describe cannabis as the glue that holds all the other shit together. Really, when people quit cannabis, they tend to just improve. Their motivation improves, their drive improves, their focus improves, their sleep improves, and all of those things improving just make it easier to quit other substances. I know when I interviewed, or maybe I was on his channel, I don't remember, Dr. Yosef. I definitely did a thing on his channel where he interviewed me, but I think I interviewed him too. But we talked about it, and he was like, yeah, I find the same thing when I'm getting people off of other substances. It's so much easier once they're off of cannabis. I was like, yeah, I noticed the same thing for whatever that's worth. But I'd probably go one for one. Again, the hypnosis, I answered this a bunch of times. I'm actively pursuing education in hypnosis. I do a bit of hypnosis with people now. Okay, I do find it very effective. There is good science-based stuff behind it, which I wasn't aware of until about a year, maybe 2 years ago, as I've been getting deeper down that rabbit hole. But again, it's still like, do I think you're gonna get hypnotized in 1 minute and never smoke weed again? Maybe. But if that happens to someone, chances are they were already largely there on their own. But I'm a fan of it. I think it's worth exploring. Again, it's something that I kind of already do with people. And I like the subconscious mind. I like accessing that. I like beating that part of the brain up. And I shouldn't say I like strengthening that part of the brain, but I like deconstructing that part of the brain, right? So when I say beating that part of the brain up, what I mean is like someone has strong perception of value in consuming a drug. Can we just like beat that down and make it irrelevant? That's what I mean by that, right? So cool. All right. Good. All right, guys, I'm quitting weed soon, but I'm going to cut off energy drinks and carts from carts to mid-flower. Yeah, I think that's great. Going from carts to mid-flower. Awesome. You're tapering. Cutting energy drinks. I think that's smart when you quit weed. A lot of people, when they stop consuming cannabis, their tolerance for other things goes down, especially caffeine. So like you quit consuming weed, you naturally have more energy. Now you drink caffeine. Caffeine hits you twice as hard, which can lead to twice the insomnia. So I'm always a big fan of like assessing other substances that may not be the best for you. Big fan of that. Yeah, I had to stop energy drinks altogether. Energy drinks were really screwing me up. They were really screwing me up here. Yeah, so okay here. Let's see here. What's up, Dr. Frank? Most 30 years, 2 days sober. Awesome. No reason to quit forever. That's fine. Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. Same with alcohol. I quit for months. I drink, quit for months. Easy peasy. Great. I'm just looking for questions here, guys. ASR, Lucian, thank you. A coffee addiction from Argentina. Yeah, I mean, it's all the same thing, right? So caffeine isn't particularly, honestly, it's not that hard. That's why I don't talk about it so much. Like, it's very easy for me to get someone off of caffeine. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I struggled with it deeply, but like, I don't talk about it as much just because like, I like working with a challenge. Like, I really like to be challenged when I'm working with people. And caffeine just hasn't, I don't know, it's just not that challenging for me anymore. I like kind of complex stuff. So now that's not saying caffeine can't be complex for a person regarding their belief systems, regarding where their mindset is at. But like, it's not that, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my thing. Caffeine, a lot of times people underestimate, and look, talk to your doctor, talk to your pharmacist. But right, one of the worst withdrawals from caffeine is like fatigue, people can get insomnia when they stop caffeine, believe it or not, sometimes, and headache, and it's like there's some easy supplements to correct that. You could talk to your doctor or your pharmacist about an over-the-counter Advil, Aleve, Tylenol, right? And a lot of times you can mitigate the caffeine issues. So yeah, that's my deal on that. But I could make more videos about caffeine in the future. I'm not opposed to that. Let's see. All right, guys. All right, we got our favorite troll in here. We got to get rid of them. Okay. So I was constipated for a whole month. Yes, that is a problem. Constipation is an issue. So whether you're quitting cannabis or nicotine, sometimes you have to address the constipation. Now, you want proper like hydration, obviously. Nutrition can be a huge help when it comes to constipation, okay? I find eating figs and dark chocolate at night can help with that. You could look into a product, what's it called? Smooth Move Tea. Just make sure you take it on a weekend when you don't have to be anywhere because it takes like 6 to 12 hours to kick in. Something like that can help. Right? What else can help with constipation? There's over-the-counter laxatives, right? That you can find at like a pharmacy. But constipation is a big problem. I had a case once where a person was quitting nicotine. They came to me after the fact. They were not working with me when this happened, but they became so impacted, they had to go to the hospital to basically get a finger shoved up their ass to get disimpacted because they became so constipated when they quit nicotine. We obviously made sure that did not happen again when they were working with us and they quit. I told them, I was like, damn, like you're really committed. Like I would have smoked before having that happen, but okay. So okay, let's see here. Yeah, guys. That guy, he's a common troll. We actually have, we're actually going to be, they don't know this yet, but we're going to be in litigation with this individual. They've become a big thorn in our side. So we're going to be taking legal action against them soon. They were unfortunate enough to leave their real cell phone number and traceable email and all their spams they do with us. And we're going to be working on it. It's really unfortunate that we have to deal with that stuff. Not a headache I ever thought I'd have. Okay, so let's see here. I quit smoking for years and started back. It happens. Nothing is forever. It's literally day by day. Yes. Okay. Yep. Okay, let's see here. Guys, again, all right. Is it possible to stop vaping cannabis? Okay, we answered that. Okay, we talked about hypnosis. I'm just catching up in comments in here. Okay. Yeah, Alan Carr makes great books. I'm a fan of Alan Carr's books. If you haven't read Alan Carr's books, I'm proud to say I have quit today. I will follow this path no longer. I'm waiting on a word. Esper Page Engineering internship. Congratulations. Working 3 jobs currently in 4 classes. You are grinding. Congratulations. Excellent time to stop, Alfred. Awesome. Okay, has anybody tried? Yeah, we talked about this. THC destroys REM sleep in your brain, so you constantly feel tired and foggy until you quit. Yeah, the REM sleep rebound is very real when you quit cannabis. I always tell people, like when I was quitting cannabis and I started to get that REM sleep rebound, one of the things that I would do is I would say to myself before going to bed, we're going to the movies tonight. And how am I going to respond? Is it going to be an action film? Is it going to be a horror film? Is it going to be a drama? Is it going to be a comedy? Is it going to be some hypersexual film? I had the whole blend of REM sleep when I quit, which I eventually came to look forward to it. Now, I do tell people, if you're quitting and you have a history of PTSD, CPTSD, we've seen this with war veterans that we worked with, right? Sometimes there's a medication out there, blood pressure medication. There's 2 of them actually that can help with PTSD related REM sleep rebound that can be pretty effective. If you're experiencing that, talk to a psychiatrist. If you want to work with us one-on-one, we have physicians who can help you with that, but sometimes that can help, okay? All right, let's see here. Anyone dealing with symptoms of CHS? Yes, CHS is a big problem. There's probably lots of people here dealing with CHS. CHS, for those of you who don't know, cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. If you smoke weed, Google it. Learn about the syndrome. Be aware that it can happen, okay? CHS is horrible. I tell people when you start to develop CHS, there is no benefit of cannabis that's going to outweigh the negatives that you stand to experience with continued cannabis consumption. CHS is brutal. It's 3 stages. Stage 1 usually starts as just morning nausea and lack of appetite. And you can only eat when you smoke more weed. Stage 2 becomes essentially cyclical vomiting. People will vomit 6, 7, 8 times an hour. We worked with someone not long ago who I think had over 20 hospitalizations, I think over 7 or 8 major organ abdominal surgeries related to CHS. I had a young lady, she was still hospitalized after 120 days of quitting with CHS. We just did now, though, with one of the physicians we teamed up with who's like very good at managing CHS. We had a lady call us and we connected her to him. She had been hospitalized, I think, over 20 or 30 times. She was working with some addiction treatment centers in New York, and we got her hooked up with a physician that we collaborate with. She's doing great. She was able to go on vacation her first week quitting. And normally she was like, I'd be paralyzed in the hospital at this point from CHS. It's insane how much I have grown as a company, as a coach, as a collaborator. Like, it's really actually unbelievable saying this stuff to you guys. I want to thank you guys. You guys are all part of that. Making these lives, to anyone who has worked with me one-on-one over all the years, it's really what makes all this possible, right? So even our haters who leave all the comments and get us views on the algorithm, right? It's all good. Okay. Yeah. CHS is a good reason to quit. Yeah, you don't want to get to that point with CHS. You really don't want to. Yeah, cyclical vomiting. Yep. Okay, we got some texting coming. I quit February 2nd and I still experience withdrawals. Why do I crave Gatorade? Probably because you're dehydrated. You could still be experiencing withdrawals. What are we in now? February, January, February, March. You're a month in, very normal. I would say go get an at-home. Exploro makes the multi-level THC detox kits. Go pick those up on Amazon and test yourself and see where you're at in your detox. This would not be abnormal to be January, February, March. Yeah, you're a little over a month. Would not be abnormal to still experience withdrawals. People can get pause, post-acute withdrawals from cannabis. You're probably craving Gatorade because you're dehydrated. Having electrolytes when you quit, especially first thing in the morning, is a very good thing. I recommend to people, was it Santa Cruz or Santana Cruz electrolytes? You can get them on Amazon. He's the health and wellness guy. He's kind of all over TikTok. Really seems like a genuine guy. I love his supplement line, actually. The guy makes killer supplements. I love his electrolytes. I drink those every morning. But yeah, okay, cool. I hope that helped you. Now, the other thing I'd say to you, though, are you still experiencing withdrawals? We'd have to consider, do you have other underlying health conditions going on, right? Sometimes when I'm working with people one-on-one, we have to start to look into that. Is this withdrawal or is it unrelated to withdrawal? And is it being improperly blamed on withdrawal? And are we missing another health condition? That's something. And 2 would be is there other lifestyle things that just why you don't feel good? I don't know enough about you. So I'm 45 days sober from cannabis. The insomnia is still giving me problems. Will it go away? Daily smoker for 8 years. At 45 days with insomnia, I would say, at this point, if you have completely adjusted all lifestyle modifications, you've exhausted options when it comes to supplementation, you need to talk to a physician about a pharmaceutical to reset your sleep cycle. That's very likely. And there's all different levels of pharmaceuticals that can do that. Again, not something I talk about, but we have physicians that we collaborate with who do this with people all the time. And we have insanely high success rates. We're usually only talking like a 2-week bridge with a person and then they're good. Again, if that's something you need help with, you are entrepreneur, business owner, high-level professional, you're struggling in silence, check out the link in the pinned comment or the video description. We can literally handle pretty much anything and everything that comes our way at this point with the team that I have. And we'd be happy to help you. We can do it all from the comfort of your own home. No rehabs, no group meetings. Link in the pinned comment in the video description. Okay, let's see here. Very debilitating to deal with. Yeah, CHS. Okay, CHS. Heating pad helps a lot with CHS. I'm just checking to see here. Okay, no more incoming text. Stool softener and fiber. Yep. I like being high, but I hate smoking weed. Okay, so why do you hate smoking weed? Why do you like being high? And I would have you question what it is you like about being high. A lot of times what happens is like being high is just a change in sensation. It's what you associate with that change in sensation that becomes so liked, right? I was high at different points in my life, and it was up to me what I associated that physical change in sensation with, right? At one point in my life, I strongly associated it with having fun and stress relief and better quality sleep and all the things that I loved about weed. Then that changed. There came a point in my life where I associated that exact same high with psychosis, CHS, demotivation, wasted time, and wasted potential. You consume a drug, you experience a physical change in sensation, and it's you who associates that change with something. Okay, so that's what it is there. All right, so guys, again, yeah, if you want me to call you, I'd be willing to take a call. You got to text me the word live, and then I will call you. Okay, so tons of ice packs. Yep, headaches. Okay. We're just catching up. Blue Gatorade. That one tastes good. The blue, I switched over to the Santa Cruz supplements just because they're a little more natural than the Gatorade. Look, I drink artificial dyes and sweeteners, okay? I'm not like super crunchy granola on that stuff, right? Like I got a bunch of blue Gatorade in my fridge. But yeah, karate classes, awesome. Great thing to do. Pursuing physical fitness. You're learning to craft. I love it. Very great dopamine producing thing to do after quitting substances. Awesome. Requires discipline. You're strengthening that muscle of discipline further. I love it. Yeah, getting back to regular sleep is huge. For most people, quitting gets easier when their sleep re-regulates. And sometimes when you're quitting, if you're having a hard time, just acknowledging I'm not getting a good night's sleep, and that's what's making this so hard. It's not that I'm weak. It's not that I'm broken. It's just I haven't slept, and that's making this hard. Sometimes that can be calming in and of itself, okay? It's funny. Herbal teas help. Herbal teas can definitely help. Fan of herbal teas, okay? Fan of it. I am so weird. I got so obsessed with herbal teas, and then I was drinking all these different herbal teas. I had like 40, 50 herbal teas in my house at one point. I'm like, oh, I drank this one and now I'm sweating. I drank this one and I had insomnia, but it was supposed to help me sleep. I drank this one and I feel nauseous. I just got to a point where I was like, I just have to drink water because my brain is so nutty. I couldn't even handle drinking herbal teas. I just became so obsessed and so down that rabbit. I'm spending all this money on herbal teas. I still have tons of herbal teas. They don't drink anymore. Now they're just here for when I entertain and have guests over. But yeah, I just had to get rid of everything when I stopped. I was like, I just need minimal to nothing in my body, and I just have to let my body do its thing. Right? So, weird rant on herbal teas. Okay. Weird getting dreams back. Yes. Yeah, the dreams can appear to be very real when you first quit. I'll give you a curveball on the dreams too. So a good sign that you're on the right direction of quitting weed is actually when you start having dreams of relapse or return to substance use, as I like to say, because we don't believe in relapse here. We don't buy into that on my channel and what I do with people. We really don't. Right? But that's a good indication that you're doing better. And sometimes people wake up and they'll text me, they'll be like, Dr. Frank, I don't know what happened. I had a dream last night that I smoked weed and it felt so real. It felt so real. And then even cooler, I'll have people talking to me and they'll say, I had a dream last night that I smoked weed, but I actually saw myself saying no in the dream. I actually saw myself turning it down. Crazy, the subconscious mind. I'm so fascinated by it. So fascinated by it. Okay, drinking Gatorade. Good night, everyone. Thanks, Dr. Frank. Yeah, guys, this was a fun live. I think I'm gonna call it a night too. It's a little late. We gotta get going tomorrow morning. I want to thank everyone for being here. You guys had fantastic questions. Again, if you're catching the replay, you can check out the link in the pinned comment in the video description. We have science-backed protocol, 98% client success rate, specifically designed for entrepreneurs, business owners, high-level professionals. We work mostly with like attorneys, physicians, public figures, some celebrities, things like that, okay? You can check out the link in the pinned comment in the video description. No group meetings, no rehabs. We can do this effectively, efficiently, and privately from the comfort of your own home. For all those of you guys who texted me tonight on the live, thank you. Excellent questions. We didn't get any live calls tonight. Maybe next time we'll get some. But to anyone else, good luck. Hope you enjoyed this. Until next time. Anytime, guys. Thanks for being here. I appreciate the support. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do all this.